In this recording, I'm going to give you an example of the traditional English pronunciation of Latin and explain to you some of its peculiarities. This pronunciation was used by Englishmen, whether they were in America or here or in South Africa or New Zealand, Australia, right through until the early part of the 1900s, until the 1950s or so. The war against it was started by the Cambridge Philological Society in the 1880s and the Association for the Reform of Latin Teaching, who promoted the restored classical pronunciation, and this has pretty much universally replaced the traditional English pronunciation across the English-speaking world. Some people still use an Italian pronunciation, which is called which is called the ecclesiastical pronunciation. This is based on a medieval pronunciation from Florence. There were, of course, many other continental variant pronunciations of Latin, and it's not true that they were all mutually intelligible. When an Englishman spoke Latin using this pronunciation, which I'm going to demonstrate to you now, it wasn't really clear, and in fact we know from letters from Scaliger, etc., what he was saying, and sometimes people thought that they were speaking English because their Latin sounded so peculiar, and you'll see why. So this is based on a phonetic rendering from Robinson, and it's quoted in Attridge's well-weighed syllables, and it was rewritten by Dobson in the 1950s, and then I've just tweaked it a bit to make it easier for me to read. It was fiendishly difficult to do, even though I know this pronunciation from various things, like biologists saying cacti, and math teachers saying simultaneous equations. You get used to bits of it, but it still throws you off. You've got to pay close attention. So, PARVA LICET. PARVA LICET. Now, the Latin spellings on the left, the transliteration into phonetics is on the right. LICET. Why is LICET become LICET? Firstly, why is this li and not li? Because it's accented, and under English accentuation rules, accented means long, so this is just what happens in English. License, for example. Exactly the same thing going on. LICET. PARVA LICET. PARVA LICET TENUISQUE LICET. MIHI MAGNA POTESTAS. Per TERRAM VICTRIX. Per MARE sum DOMINA. QUEM KAYLOR et FRY-GUS SIN-SZUNT MIHI SUB-SZA'SHET IR. AEQUE ut PARTICIPEM sic Deus instituit. Non MIHI MAGNA COHOS MAIA KWAYD-RAYTA CATURVA. QUINGE-KWI tibi solum praestat. EYE-KWI latus. Quos si dux sapiens nectat. Simul ordine recto. So that's that. The traditional English pronunciation of Latin. So, PARVA LICET TENUISQUE LICET. MIHI MAGNA POTESTAS. Per TERRAM VICTRIX. Per MARE sum DOMINA. QUEM KAYLOR et FRY-GUS SIN-SZUNT MIHI. SUB-SZA'SHET IR. AEQUE ut PARTICIPEM sic Deus instituit. Non MIHI MAGNA COHOS MAIA KWAYD-RAYTA CATURVA. QUINGE-KWI tibi solum prestat. EYE-KWI latus. Quos si dux sapiens nectat. Simul ordine recto. So that's the traditional English pronunciation of Latin, which is now pretty much extinct, except for a few biologists here and there, and some math teachers who, unbeknownst, use this pronunciation when they are bamboozling their students with their simultaneous equations and things like that.